coming to you from Baker's Green Acres. This is the Anyone Can Farm Experience live chat Tuesday night edition, and today is the 30th, I think. Yep, the 30th of January 2024. I'm Mark, your host, coming to you from Baker's Green Acres. And let's see. It's Tuesday. The weather here is not too bad. We had mid 30s today. Believe that for January. That's really nice. And it's winter is getting behind us. It's getting behind us, and that's really good because we've had a pretty short winter, but it was intense there for a little while. We had some real cold temperatures and a lot of snow. Now it's kind of mushy out there and not the greatest, but we're getting by. We're getting by. So today, a little bit of my day. I kind of like to share my day with you all. Today was my day to milk, and some of you may have seen the video that I made this morning. The way that I'm doing this now is I'm doing a video every day, and it's just going to be what I'm doing. And I'm going to share with you the nuances of the processes that I'm doing. Now, this is the Tribe Plus people. So this show goes out live. And if you are not a Tribe Plus person, you can access this, but only live. You won't be able to access it tomorrow unless you're Tribe Plus. And if you want to be Tribe Plus, you can go to bakersgreenacres.com and follow the instructions there and become a Tribe Plus member. And we're doing this for several reasons, but one is we want to share more information, not really entertaining videos. They're just going to be how-to. So if you were to be with me here during the day and all of a sudden we're going to do a process, then I can say, well, this is like today I shared the bottling process of how we do, how we bottle up our milk. And I don't know what I'll do tomorrow. I'm just going to take it as it comes. But all of these videos are going to go in with the whole library of videos that we have. And I'm told there's over 1,000 of them, 1,500 or so. And they're all being cataloged and indexed. So if you want to see something on milking cows, you can just pull that up and just boom, 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 boom. There'll be 20 videos there that you could watch. So it's real live experience-based information, I think. The Tribe Plus people, we're looking to push people to the next level in their homesteading experience because I don't see this as a hobby anymore. I see it as more of a way of life that the more you get into it, the deeper you get into it, the more fun it becomes, the more sweet it becomes, the more profitable it becomes. I'm not the type of person that works on hobbies that are not profitable. I don't think I have any of them. I'm always wanting to try and make a gain in the homestead experience. Like the homestead isn't just something that I do. It's something that I do holistically with my family, if that makes sense. And others. I am mission orientated here, and I want to share as much of this information with the people that want it as possible. I'm not interested really in making entertaining videos. If they're entertaining, that's good, but that's not the point. Some of it may be just even mundane, like what marker do I use to mark the tops of the bottles? Doesn't seem like a big deal, but if you use the wrong one, then you have to buy new tops every time because the date changes. So anyway, that's the direction that we're going. So it's more consulting orientated. So you could theoretically watch a video every single day of the processes that I'm being involved in. And you might get a question. Well, gee, I wonder what size staples you use for that that fence operation that you're doing. And you would be able to come on the consulting call, which is Wednesday night. It's a Zoom call for Tribe Plus people only. And you can ask questions, and then we can get into it. I can tell you even more, because there's so much information in this homesteading shtick, right? And it's not a shtick. It's this is what we do. It's really what we do. So I made a video this morning about bottling up the milk, and then I went on to the next thing after we were done. One of the things that I noticed this morning when I went down into the shop, and I talked about this a little bit in the video that I made, but then after I made the video, I thought, gee, I should have talked about this too. I go down into that's how my process begins. Tuesdays, me and Frank milk. There's always two people that are milking, and one guy is the primary, and he's the guy that's actually milking the cows. He's in with the cows. The other guy is working on the equipment, bedding the animals, making sure that the water is full, and then just looking around to see if anything else needs to be done. And that guy is the one that will be getting the milk, taking it back over into the milk house, the makeshift milk house that we have right now, and bottling it up. And then you clean all the equipment when you're done. We used to do this with just one person, and you wouldn't get done till lunchtime, and it was like, oh, today's my day to milk, and it was kind of a long process, and you were on your own, and it wasn't as much. It was less fun than doing it with a partner. And when I finish today, I want to. Well, here's what I wanted to say. We bottled up 10 gallons of milk. I bottled up 10 gallons of milk. I wrote the people's names on it who are getting milk today. It's their milk today. Put that in the cooler. And then everything else I just marked at 30-1, 30th day, first month. Don't really need to put 2024 on there, because the interesting thing about that is the milk that we produced last week, there's a very high percentage that it's been consumed. So it's already gone. It's already, been through people's bodies and gone to where it's going to go. And I think that's a pretty neat concept, that we're producing something that's being consumed. We're consuming it. I don't know what I'd do without raw milk, honestly. I really crave raw milk now. And it's consumable, so it needs to be replaced. It's a nice thing. So the 10 gallons of milk that we produced today, they were distributed, and the distribution process is something that needs to be talked about, because I'm not, I don't deliver to people's doors. We don't do that. We can't and do everything else that we're doing. So the distribution process talked about, and anything else. I highly recommend milking cows as a homestead process that will give you some cash flow. It will actually, once you got it going, at the end of the week, cha-ching, here's what we made this week. Now, is it everything? Is it all I need? No, but it's a nice chunk. And then I can go on to the next thing. So after I finished milking today, I had a couple phone calls to make. And then I went right into the butcher shop, and I had 2 shoulders on the table that needed to be broke down, and we grind them all up and package up hamburger, and really made a very nice product, and quite a bit of it, right? And that is also stuff that's consumable. You can produce on your homestead, but then the question is, well, how do you convert that into something that you can use. You know, it's nice to convert it to dollars, but that's not necessary. It doesn't have to be dollars. It can be other things. So who do we got with us? We got David Duss, Sean Wise, seen Keith. Yeah, Keith is with us. Brittany Pierce. Been a long time. Brand new mom there, Brittany Pierce. I saw your new little fella. Harley looks like he's having a good time with his new little brother. That's nice. All right. And Keith, I tried to send you a video the other day, and it said it was too long, but it was Frank came home Sunday and said that he was going to process one of his sheep. And I said to him, oh, okay, well, if you want to use my 22, it's up in the Jeep. And he said, well, no, I'm going to use my muzzle loader. I said, oh, okay. 50 caliber muzzle loader. That'll definitely get the job done. But I didn't want to, you know, keep him from discovering something. So I made a video of him, and he went out there with his muzzle loader, and kaboom, big puff of smoke. It worked. It worked. And then he pressed on from there, got his sheepskin out and all that. So that was kind of neat. I wanted to send that to you because that's the muzzle loader that you gave him. But it said that the video was too long, which was kind of weird because I sent it to my son Keith, who is just finishing up jump school, and he got a big bang out of it. But anyway, all right. So then I worked until 6:30 tonight down in the shop, and I had a great time doing it. Hey, you can close this door if you want. Frank, you want to close this door? You can close this door. It's a real neat process, processing beef, if you have some place to do it. There was a time when literally I was carrying big, you know, like a section of the beef into the house because that's all we had. We didn't have any place outside to do that. And if you're processing beef in the wintertime, you know, it can be cold, especially northern Michigan. But up and Covey's with us. I'm going to bring him in here in a minute. But Covey got to work in the new shop this summer. This summer was our first year actually using it. And now we process pigs in there, and now we're doing beef. And it's nice because it's warm, it's well lit, and the tables are sturdy and nice and high, and we have all our equipment set up in there. And when I'm done for the day, all I do is sweep the floors, put the tools away, and I'll be hitting it again tomorrow morning because we got to get the tables cleared off for the next process that we're doing. Anyway, so in the spirit of passing information on, year we have decided to do an intern program. Last year, we did kind of an impromptu intern program. I have been reluctant to do interns because when you bring people on that are not trained, you spend more time training them. And I was apprehensive that I would have to hold somebody's hand the whole summer. So I was a little apprehensive about doing it, but we did it. And the fellow that was going to come and work with us was a guy by the name of Kavi Bali, right? And I met him quite a few years ago. He was just a little kid, and it was at a conference, and his mom's table was right next to mine, and it's Neethi. You guys maybe have remembered that we did a interview with Neethi on here. And, you know, we didn't talk much, but we talked some. And then I talked with her on the phone a little bit. And then she expressed that maybe her son would like to come and intern with us. And I don't really have an intern program. Well, you know, did you ever think about it? He'd really like it. And because I remember at that conference, this kid, probably about 15. I think he's probably about 15 at the time, was detailed by probably his mom to videotape the conference. And, holding that video camera there that whole time, I thought, wow, this kid is a soldier. He just held it there. And so at the end of the conference, I even said something when we were saying goodbye. I said, hey, this guy's really followed directions and did a good job videotaping the whole time. So anyway, and then, so we agreed to do it. And Covey came Memorial Day or close to Memorial Day. And we weren't not really set up, but I had an idea of what kind of experience he was looking for. And so we played it by ear. And I thought it would be fun to have him come on and explain his experience. Now, I called him this morning, but I didn't tell him what to say. I just thought it would be fun to let him tell what his experience was like, the good, the bad, the ugly. Because at the end of the summer, I got to tell you, there was some moist eyes around this house because Covey became part of our family. We eat together and, did stuff, and you're working together. That's some of the best relationships you'll ever make, is when you're working with people, especially in this environment. Definitely a new guy, definitely a guy that had not had a lot of experience on farms, if any. I don't think any hands-on experience. I think he's been to farms, and we had a good summer. So in the course of that, I think Covey probably brought it up to me about, what about next year? And I was like, well, this worked out pretty good. I didn't have to hold his hand the whole time. Once we got him lined out on something, he did pretty good. Pretty good. I must say, pretty good. And so I was more open to doing it again. But I thought, well, maybe we could bring another person on, or a couple. And so we've talked about it, and I've thought it through, and I've actually kind of tailored this summer that we're going into with the idea of 4 people, including Covey. So we'd be taking on another guy and 2 gals. And I think that's important because that's the way it is. We do work on this farm regardless of age or whether you're male or female. And everybody does kind of everything. There's certain things that are more suited to men than women. And, so we kind of take it as it comes. But there really isn't any jobs that are just girls' jobs or jobs that are just guys' jobs. So we don't press on those things. If somebody wants to do something that typically just the men do, we're okay with that. We don't say girls can't do this or guys can't do this. So I just think the environment would be more dynamic if you had both interns. And I think that if we were able to send 4 people out into the world with real world experience, being immersed in this farm, I think that would be better than just 1. Like if we could send 20 of them out, that would be even better. We're not really equipped for that. At this point, we're not really even equipped for 4, but we're going to work through that. And I would prefer, I don't know if we'll be able to do this, but I'd prefer that these are all Tribe Plus affiliates. So for you people that are going to hear this, and I know that there's a lot of you that are not Tribe Plus, I would like you to go and join and then refer to people that could potentially be interns, refer them to us. All right. I am interested in building in and training people that are going to do this, that have an idea that this is what they would like to do. You know, maybe you won't do it for the rest of your life, but for a season, this is a great thing to learn how to do. Really is. So without further ado, let's see if there's anything else. Tonight's show is brought to you by the Tribe Plus. I think we are on to something here. I really do. It is going to be from this point forward, our focus is going to be, our priority is going to be consulting. So it's kind of cumbersome if you call me up and say, hey, could you come out to my place and do consulting? I want, show me what to do here. It's a little cumbersome, especially if you're out of state or even if you're 2 hours away from me, because I have a farm to run. And it's not like I want to be a consultant. I really don't. I want to be a production farmer. But my twist on it is a little different because I see what's happening in the industrial ag world right now. Like, I am a wheat producer, so I do nothing but produce wheat. I don't want to do that. I don't want to do just one thing. I want to weave this together on this homestead so that the processes that we do complement each other, and it makes sense. Like if you were Adam and Eve, you wouldn't name everybody. You wouldn't name all the animals cow. Because you got cows and you got pigs, and how do they work together? Like this creation was put together for us, and we are charged with stewarding it. So why would you set up an environment that has nothing but wheat? Nothing but wheat. We got nothing but wheat, because then it becomes out of balance. And I think we've explained this many times. There has been times when I thought, you know what, I don't think I want to do pigs anymore. But then I think, yeah, but then what will I do with all the heads and feet and guts from our chicken processing operation? What would I do with those? Bury them? Well, that's a pollution issue, right? You don't want to overload the ground with all this stuff. But if I have pigs, I can give it to them and they'll turn it into pig manure and high quality pork. So those two processes work together. Same thing with our beef thing that we're doing right now. Wow, there is so much fat that comes off these beef, and it's beautiful fat. We render down as much as we can pass on to our human customers, but then there's still too much. Well, then we put up some for our dogs. Well, there's still too much. Well, it's energy. The fat is energy, and it goes to the chickens, it goes to the pigs, and the energy stays here, right? So these processes work together. Along those lines, with the intern program, we're bringing on human power, human intellect, human effort. They're willing to do the thing. We press that very hard. Do the thing, and you'll have the power. And so, if I had 4 extra people here this summer that need to be trained, well, I could probably start another process and assign them to that. We'll all learn during that process, and I have some ideas. Maybe I'll get to share them tonight when we talk with Cov. All right, so without further ado, I want to bring on my man Covington and just introduce him a little bit. Let him tell you all who he is. So here we go. Boom. Covey's with us.
Hello.
Welcome, lad.
I hope you can hear me. I didn't check this microphone, but it should be working.
You're good. Cool. Can you guys hear us out there in TV land? Oh, and let me tell you guys in TV land, by all means, load the comment section up with any questions that you have concerning, what Covey's going to talk to us about. I don't know how well of a public speaker you are, but welcome.
I leave the public speaking to my mom usually, so
Yeah.
I
Stop
usually stay
talking.
behind the camera.
Stop talking.
Yeah, I'm the quiet one in the corner,
Yeah.
but it's okay.
Hey, so how is it that you wound up being an intern at Baker's Green Acres? Walk us through that process.
Honestly, it was kind of short notice on my part. I think my parents had planned it for a while. And they had talked to you, I know, a good amount before they talked to me about it. And then I came down, in May, end of May. And so I think I found out second week of January-ish that I was coming, or they were planning on coming. Right after I think they came and saw you, and they came back, and then they told me. So it was, it was a couple months, so it wasn't like immediate, but it was a little bit abrupt. And I was definitely not, I wouldn't say not excited, but I didn't know what to expect.
Yeah.
And I don't know, we live in the middle of Raleigh, so the second biggest city in North Carolina, other than Charlotte.
Yeah.
And then to be like, oh, you're going to spend the summer on a farm in Michigan. It's a little weird.
Yeah.
But it ended up being nice. It was fun. And honestly, they told me who I was going to go see with. I had to look up your YouTube channel, and even then I didn't quite remember meeting you because it was so long ago. I think I ended up finding whatever video I recorded from the conference, and my mom had to point you out. Not that you're not a memorable face, but I was too busy that conference, and I met a lot of people.
Yeah.
But it ended up being fun. So it was a good summer.
All right. So you showed up Memorial Day, wasn't it? Memorial Day or close to
so.
it? Okay.
Pretty close.
Drove up. Drove your 4Runner up. And
still love that car.
What happened? Tell us about your experience.
Well, the first week, maybe two, I think we know. Well, I guess we should start with the first 2 days. The first 2 days was a little complex. I had an interesting first adaptive night. So I got there and I met everybody. And I don't know how many people have been to the farm, but there's the campgrounds next door to you, and you have a little apartment over there. And so I was set up in the apartment, which did have power, but it didn't have water. And I had lights, which was fine, but it was mainly the water and it was summer. So the water and the air conditioning was a big difference from what I'm used to.
Yeah.
And I guess it was the hottest week you guys have had in Michigan. What was it, like 80, 82, 83?
Yeah.
Which is semi-normal here, but for Michigan, at least, I heard it was pretty warm. And so it was a little interesting driving from my house in the city to staying in a hotel. And where'd I stop? Ann Arbor, I think, on my way up. And then I came up. So it was a little bit of a difference. And I definitely had a little bit of a freak out moment after I ended up setting everything up. I was fine for a minute. I set stuff up in the apartment and I did a little bit of cleaning and whatever. And I think you had stopped by and checked on me and whatever. And I was kind of settling in. And it was pretty late, like 11 o'clock at night-ish. And I think my parents had called me because it's about the time they go to bed, if not a little bit sooner. And they were just checking in and whatever. And I was talking to them, and I definitely had a little bit of a freak out moment, and I ended up staying that night in an Airbnb. Was it that night or was it the next night? I think
It
it was
was
the
the
first
next
night.
night.
It
Yeah,
was
it
the
was the
next
next
night. So I stayed that night. And then the next night I had talked to him during the day. After we finished around 4. And then I think we ended up booking an Airbnb for a night. And that was a little interesting. Turns out all I needed to do was ask you for a fan or
Yeah.
two, which was it's weird mainly because I was by myself. That was the first weird thing. It was the first time leaving home. But also it was just uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And so the mixture of the two was not a great combination for my first week. I've grown to enjoy it now, actually. And I've gotten used to being home and I don't know, just not being as worried about little stuff like that,
Yeah.
which is kind of nice. And so I don't know. It was a really bad first week in my head, which looking
Yeah.
back, it was really nice in hindsight. But as of my time being there, it was a pretty rough first week. And it was, I don't know, it was just different. But I end up enjoying it now. I'm thankful that it happened at least. But it was a rough first week, which
Yeah.
I think was nice because it also made it feel like my summer up there was slightly separate from being up here, and I think I learned more thinking it was less vacation-y or like a trip down to Michigan to hang out or whatever. And it seemed less vacation-y than it did. Well, it ended up seeming more vacation-y near the end, just because I had gotten to know you guys and we were hanging out and whatever. But the learning process seemed less vacation-y as far as my first weekend up there goes, which was nice. And it was good for my brain comprehending stuff and being able to learn stuff. So that was pretty nice.
Yeah. Well, I knew that you were going to struggle a little bit. I knew that.
Yeah, I think that was the plan on your part.
Well, I could see it. I could see that you were struggling, but I thought he'll get through this because this is uncomfortable, but only for a couple of days. And then you get used to it. And then you started to get your nose in a groove. And then you were looking out, from just your situation that you're in. And there was another situation that was going on. It was the anniversary of your sister's death too. So that was
also
a burden on you too as well. And being away from home during that time. But it was like you flipped, all of a sudden, the austere conditions were kind of like secondary to your duties here because you started to see, oh, I can do this. And we assigned you things that were your things. You had a responsibility to them. And then you started to interact with the animals too. That had a lot and the kids. And you found a place.
I'm a big routine person too, so having a routine was pretty nice. At least a loose, weekly routine. Day by day, stuff happens, which is always fun. But just something to at least have in my mind a picture of how the week was going to go is pretty nice too.
Yeah.
And then obviously hanging out with the kids was it's weird when you go to live with a family for the first time and you're just kind of there. And so it's always weird to meet a group of people in general. You work a new job and whatever. It's weird to meet new people, or you start a new activity or whatever. You're meeting new people, but staying in somebody's house while you haven't met them before is even weirder.
Yeah.
So that took a minute too, which I think was weird for everybody, us and the kids, or not us, but me and the kids and you guys too. I'm sure it was an interesting first week or two, but after that it started feeling a little more normal, and then it only got better after that.
Yeah. So what kind of activities were, what was your approach to the duties that you were assigned? How did that work on your head?
Um, it's a good question. It they were it's stuff I'd never done before, and I knew
Mhm.
that you knew I hadn't done it before, and so that was slightly comforting. And I felt better asking questions to somebody that I knew was there to help me. But I also enjoyed that I like figuring stuff out if I can on
Yeah.
my own. It might not be right, which I think I'm 50% of the time I'm okay, but it's a pretty big margin of not being right.
Nice.
But I still like figuring stuff out. And so it was kind of nice because you're not very helicoptery, which you don't really have time to be. There's a bunch of other stuff happening. But out of only having teaching experience from in school and with your parents and whatever, it's a little bit different, and I think it's nicer. I never liked school for a lot of reasons, but that was one of them. Um, so it was kind of nice, and I don't know. I tackled every problem with a pretty can-do attitude. It's also nicer knowing that if how old's Frank? 11. If an 11-year-old can do it, I can do
Yeah.
it. So that's it. It takes a minute to figure it out, and there's a lot of stuff Frank does that I'm still working on. But there's a sort of I don't know what the right word is, but there's a certain niceness about knowing that if he can do it, I can probably do it too. It's just about
Yeah.
figuring out how to do it. And then once I got in the routine of doing stuff, I enjoy routines, so that was pretty nice. Got used to doing things, and every week we did a project that was a little bit more challenging until about the end, and then I'd pretty much gotten in the hang of, oh, something new is going to pop up this week, and I was excited to see what we were doing that week.
Yeah.
We also started my first weekend there with doing. We did Kyle's concrete the first weekend, didn't we? At his shop, I think we laid
Yeah.
concrete my first
Yeah.
weekend there, which was totally new, totally weird. After I'd been there, was it? I think I got there on Monday, right? So I'd been there a full week, maybe Tuesday, so almost a weekend, and we were doing something totally new with big concrete trucks pouring and all that. That was pretty fun, and that's something that is definitely that's actually really nice to know, just in general. I haven't poured concrete yet while I'm here, but I think there's a couple projects in the future lined up, planned where I could. And then the chicken tractors that took a
Yeah.
week. That was another big project that I did fairly solo,
Yeah.
and that was fun. I enjoy that too, and all the wood working stuff I've used multiple times since I've gotten back. We moved, and so we sold our house, and so I fixed our deck, and that was fun. I meant to send you photos. I don't think I ever did. There's a little chaos between moving and stuff, so I don't think I ever got to. But I redid a little bit of our deck and just sections, that were a little old. We'd had that house for 19 years, so nothing too crazy, but stuff I wouldn't have done before.
Hmm.
And there's projects that I've pictured myself doing. I want to build some stuff like bookshelves and stuff for my room specifically once we finally settle in and move, but that's a different issue. But there's definitely projects that I feel ready to tackle, which is nice.
Yeah.
We did a lot of moving here actually this year between me and some friends, and so that was I did a lot of stuff that I wouldn't have prepared to do. You carry a Leatherman all the time. I have a Leatherman in my bag with me all the time. And a bigger version of that is I keep a toolbox in my car because not everything I do here is at our house per se, but I have a toolbox in my car, sectioned off like your little boxes
Well,
to an extent in your shop.
yeah.
I'm a big sorter too, so sorting stuff out was nice. And so I got a couple big toolboxes and stuff working on my little portable shop. So it's been nice, and there's skills and things I know I can do that I didn't know I could do, or probably knew I could do but didn't have the confidence in being like, oh yeah, I can do that. And now for the most part, I'm like, oh yeah, I can help with that.
Yeah.
Whatever the task is. So it's been pretty nice.
Yeah. Towards I'd say when you were building the chicken tractors, it seemed like you were settling in. And when I'd say, well, I'll do this, and then I'd just walk away. And then I'd look over and you had your head down and you were jamming, maybe listening to tunes or something, and were overcoming. And you were, that sense of achievement, you could see it. And we were kind of monitoring you at lunchtime, like, how's he doing? How's he doing? And all of a sudden it was like, he's going to be fine. He's going to be all right. So
being able to see stuff you finish too is also nice, which is a good thing just in everyday life, but especially in trying something new. I've recently started photography, which honestly, Joe was a little bit of my kick into that too, because I've always liked taking photos and messing with drones and whatever, but hanging out with Joe a little bit too was fun for that. But I started photography, and just taking photos and seeing the outcome of those photos is also just fun in general. So seeing stuff you've done completed is nice in a general sense, but especially when you're trying something new. And I don't know, building the chicken tractors. And I think by that point I was a week or two into messing with the chickens by myself and stuff. So that was it was a pretty nice moment of just being used to being there and being more familiar with being there, and playing music and whatever while I was working.
Another big transition that I saw was, I think our audience knows that we have a chicken processing business. So every Friday we're processing chickens. And I think you're probably 2 weeks in helping. And then we had the pastured poultry, where we had 20 or so people that came on to see how the process works. And you became the expert. You were showing people how to do stuff, and you were just, people were going to you, well, how do you do this and how do you do this? And that was pretty neat to watch that happen. That's when I started to see that we have something here, that we need to develop. We need to develop this.
I'm glad that looked good from the outside, because I think I blacked out for a lot of that class. I was just kind of working on autopilot, trying not to mess up while people were there.
No.
Which it was nice. It was fun. That was a good class.
Yeah.
That was my first time seeing a bunch of people over there too, which was cool. And the class working stuff I'm used to, like meeting new people and doing stuff with a bunch of people, from my mom doing her classes and whatever, but also just in general. I'm pretty good around groups of people.
Mm-hmm.
But especially something I just learned the week before, it was nice to be able to put that to use and tell people about that. So,
yeah. Well, it's not everybody can do that. Not everybody can receive people that are coming to them and say, well, how do you do this? You could have punched out and just kind of stayed out on the perimeter, don't ask me any questions. I don't know anything. Oh, I'm new here. But you didn't do that. You looked like you were an old hand at it. So that was pretty good. Another thing that went really well that I look back on, and I think it was a total success, was when we did Tribe Day. You had gone back for a family thing, and then showed back up here, and then just hit the ground running, and just plugged yourself in wherever you needed to be, and made that, and you wound up in the cafe. And you were a big help in there.
Yeah, that was a nice trip back home too. It was my grandma's birthday, so we not only I left for the beach, which is always nice, for pretty much a week, 4 days, 5 days with all of my family, and I hadn't seen them in forever, but my parents and my sister and whatever. So that was nice to come back to too, and it was a good little reset. And when I came back, it was pretty fun. We met lots of people. That was a good time. Yeah,
That
I
was
did end up in the cafe.
yeah.
That was I enjoy cooking too, so that was
Yeah.
fun.
Let's see, where do we go from there? I remember you and I were driving back from Kyle's. We had poured concrete. We were coming back, and I took a detour and kind of went on seasonal roads coming home. And I said, you know what? I think you're going to fall in love with this place. And I remember going through this beautiful fields and beautiful woods here in Michigan. And I think that kind of happened. You wound up really liking it here.
Yeah, that was nice. I think I drove that same path once, like through
Yeah.
the thing in my Forerunner. That was pretty nice. And that was fun. It's just nice. I also did exploring. Ooh, I did exploring on the weekends, and so
Yeah.
that was fun too. Got to see Michigan, and that made it seem a little more. It made every week seem a little more new, if that makes sense.
Yeah. It
I
went
think
by
the other
fast,
big thing I
didn't it?
did, yeah, it
It went
did.
by so fast.
By the end, it was. I didn't realize it was 10 weeks.
Yeah.
But after I came back from my trip, I think the whole month just flew by. I was there for a month and a few days, and it didn't feel like that at all. I think
Yeah.
it felt like 2 weeks or so. The other big thing that was new that happened a little bit later was moving the cows. That was another big thing. Solo, at least in the mornings
Oh yeah, that's right.
from the back up. That was a new thing that took me a minute.
Yeah,
'Cause
that's
it's
right.
always
You were,
weird if you're not near cows, you're near animals that are as big and as heavy as my Forerunner that are just
yeah,
kind of doing their own thing. And so
yeah.
moving them was a little weird.
Well, we still had
And
the bull then too.
yeah, Endeavor. I love
Yeah.
Endeavor. Endeavor was always fun. He used to come up and hang out when we were milking and give us the stank eye.
Yeah.
I'd send photos. Actually, he was my girlfriend's favorite to get photos of. Him and Ruby, I
Yeah.
think, were their two favorites. So those were the hits in photos. Ruby and Dawn are my favorite, at least until the last week. And then Faith healed my ankle, and so
Yeah.
she's got a soft spot in my heart.
Let's talk about your injury. That was a milestone too.
Do we have to? That was a pretty
Well, just
weird
the way it
injury.
turned out was kind of interesting.
Yeah. I tripped falling upstairs, and turns out I dislocated my ankle, which was interesting because it was such a dumb fall, but it was a weird ankle injury. I honestly thought I sprained it.
Yeah.
And so I rested on it for, I think I took 3 days off or something like that before I started trying to hobble around on it again. It was the weekend, so I took Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, I think. And that was my try and kind of recovery time, which after I was there was a little hard actually, because I usually don't like sitting around doing stuff, or not doing, I don't like sitting around doing nothing. I usually enjoy doing stuff, which being injured and not even really being able to walk around the apartment was a little weird. But at some point I was like, okay, whatever. And so I started hobbling around on it, and it was fine. I think I hobbled around on it for an extra 4 days or so, because I think it was about a week total that it was hurting pretty bad. And I was milking, and Face had a little bit of a kicking problem at the time.
Yep.
And so I've heard it's been corrected since, but it was she was new to the milking thing, I think, right? It was her first time. So she was new, and yeah, it was a new thing. And I'm not used to being around cows in general, never mind kicking cows. And it'd been 4 days or so with her, and so I'd gotten a little bit used to it, but it was one good hit me on the shoulder, I think, and I kind of hobbled to the side and caught myself in my ankle, and I rolled it again. But it hurt just as bad as when I dislocated it originally, but after about a minute the pain went away, and she whacked it back into place. And 5 minutes later, I think I was walking pretty much fine after
Yeah.
that. It was a little tight for a day or two after that, but for the most part, it was good. That was the highlight of my little ending over there. That was a good little last week memento.
Well, I'm really glad that you got to milk in the new milk parlor that we built that. You helped
Yep.
build that.
That was fun too.
That was fun.
When I got there, it was we still were moving stuff out of it.
Yeah.
My first week there, it was me and Jim, and we were in there throwing
Oh
around
yeah,
rocks.
that's right. That's right.
So
You
we were
guys
still cleaning it out. There was
jobbing that.
whole bunch of big rocks and whatever. Did you guys ever finish the other side?
Not yet.
The concrete or not yet?
No.
So, but that was good, and land that little concrete, or the little concrete bar with Frank was fun. The whole project was good. That was a fun project.
It's definitely going to be a priority this year. We want to have that done before we go into next winter. We want to have it completely done.
Yeah, I'm sure that would help about now.
We got drains to put in, and we're going to connect up all the drains from the butcher shop to the milk house so that all of that refuse goes into one tank, and then apply that tank to the field.
Yeah.
So I don't want to let all those nutrients just go. I want to, all the blood from the chickens, and then any milk that we wash down the drain, instead of just letting it sink into the ground, I want to use it out on the fields. But it's going to take some engineering to do that. So for those of you that haven't caught on, Face is one of our cows, and we got her. She didn't have a name, and she got named Stripe Face because she's got a big stripe on her face, and then it just got shortened to Face. And nobody liked that name, but she's still Face. Nobody has a problem with it anymore. She's one of our best cows. She's nice now too.
It's stuck now. Yep.
She doesn't kick, and she kicked everybody. She got me on the hand, and she just scun off about the size of a $50 off of my hand. And I said, that's it. I was afraid she was going to kick somebody like in the leg or the shin or something, or the kneecap. And so I said, that's it. And so we just left her out. We didn't bring her in to milk her anymore because she was dangerous. And one day she came in on her own. She just filed in with the rest of the cows. And I was looking at her, and something just spoke to me. And I said, maybe we should try milking her from the other side, from the right, instead of the left. Because some people say you always milk a cow from the right. I think Joel Salatin's got that in one of his books. And we always milked all of our cows from the left just because that's how we started doing it. So I tried milking her from the right, and I didn't have a single problem with her. And I sure am glad that we didn't turn her into Hamburger, because she's one of our best cows now. She's really a good girl, and friendly too. She's actually quite friendly. So that turned out good. So
yeah,
you wound up taking over the pastured poultry operation by the end of the summer. You were moving the tractors and making sure they had water and feed. And how was that experience?
It was interesting to do it. I have seen, because I've been to Polyface multiple times, you obviously have a different chicken tractor setup, which I think is nicer.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I think it's nicer. I had never moved their chicken tractors, but it doesn't look like it's as fun as or easy as moving yours. But it was interesting to do. I had understood the concept for the most part. And so it was a little easier to get in the hang of doing that. But also, as someone who doesn't work with chickens are a little feisty when it comes to stuff like that, like trying to jump out of the chicken tractor per usual. And they say chickens can't fly, but they get pretty high if they jump.
Oh, yeah.
And just catching chickens is an interesting it's an interesting task. I think we got new chicks for the brooder my second week there or something, and a couple of them had gotten out, and me and Rachel went over there and we're trying to catch them. And Ray, they're jumping around, and Rachel's just picking them out of the air and up off the ground, and I'm kind of sitting there like, and I'm slowly walking up and trying to like nestle this little chicken into my hand because I don't want to hurt the little chicken because I don't want to squeeze too hard. But then you're like, oh, you can kind of just grab the chicken. You obviously can't like squeeze the heck out of the chicken, but it's an animal. It's pretty easy to grab, and that was an interesting experience. That was pretty fun too. It's just a little weird, all the flapping and whatever. It takes a minute to get used to, but after a week or so, I think that was pretty down. And it was a nice little walk in the morning because it's nice and it's cool enough to where you're not dying in the heat on the hot days, but it's also pretty because you walk over the little hill and you can see all the cows and whatever. So it's a nice little setup too there. And it's just a cool morning routine. It's near the big tree, so sometimes you see the little sun come up the big tree and so on and so forth. It's a good morning time activity, and I think that helped a lot being there because I knew in the morning, I wake up and I do this, and then that's what I do in the morning, and then I keep going.
Yeah. I just remembered something. It was the week after Tribe that you rolled your ankle. So that weekend, you were laid up that weekend. And I don't think I came over to see you until Sunday.
Yeah, it was a little bit later.
Yeah.
And that's because I assumed it was going to get better because I thought I had just sprained it, and I've sprained my ankle plenty of times before. And it didn't really feel worse until I started trying to like move around on it. And then at that point, I think I had, I think I was going to go get it checked out, I think was what I wanted to do. And then I was like, well, I'll see if you guys can look at it first. Or I think Rachel was like, oh, Miss Baker will come down and look at it. And she gave me that salve, which was great. I don't remember what was in it. It was like pepperminty, but it was whatever that salve was great. And that helped definitely with pain management and whatever. And so, that was, I think you came a little bit later to check it out. That gave me a little bit of reassurance too. Like, at least somebody else looked at it.
But you know what happened that day? It started to rain. So we sat up here under the overhang, and there was some people visiting from Chicago. And there was a lady that was camping over at the campground too. So she was over there at the campground. We thought she was out walking around, and it started to thunder and lightning really bad. And all of a sudden we saw a bolt of lightning come down and go into the field out behind the campground.
Oh yeah.
Remember that? And I thought, gee, I hope she wasn't walking around out there. And then it lit the field on fire. So me and Jill jumped in the Jeep, and we went too far, and then we had to come back because we couldn't get through the ditch. And me and Jill went out there with shovels and put that fire out.
Yeah. I forgot about that. Yeah.
Yeah.
There was also
that day we went to the lake.
Yeah.
And just goofed off. All right. Well, I got to tell you this, like, there wasn't anything that I asked you to do that you didn't accomplish, and I think that's why we went to turning over the pastured poultry to you, because this guy needs a challenge. Nothing that we ask him to do, he's getting tripped up on and saying, I just can't, I'm not ready for this. I can't do this. Everything that we asked you to do, you just ate it. You just ate it up. You just went crazy on it. So that's a good attribute, and you'll do well in life with that. And I think that's what we're looking for. That's what you need in life, right? So at what point did you think that you wanted to come back, and I think you had an idea in your mind to have a few more interns and that maybe you would supervise them. At what point did that become a reality?
I want to say after Tribe Day, after I got
Yeah.
back from my trip, and that I think that was about the time that I had decided to do that. There were a couple of factors that led me to that decision. Some of them were personal, and some of them were just because I liked being up there. I was trying to do internships. The plan was back to back. I was going to do yours last year, and then something else this summer. I was supposed to switch up and go somewhere else this summer. Was the original plan when when my mom had considered coming down. This was before she started convincing you about the intern program or whatever, like before she came down and hung out with you and all that. And so that was the original plan. And then I was down there and I went up and talked to them, and I think we talked about it while we were on our vacation for my grandma's birthday, because we were just catching up because I hadn't seen them.
Yeah.
And I think we had talked about me coming up to Michigan again instead of doing something else, just because I honestly I had a great time coming up there, and the setup of stuff that I wanted to learn was more geared towards stuff I'd learned from you than other stuff, because I was going to do a almost strictly milking thing this between winter and summer.
Okay.
Was the internship I was going to go for. It was mainly livestock based and whatever, which is great. I just enjoy building stuff more and trying to problem solve that way. And obviously the livestock taking care of thing is a big part of it, but you got a lot of infrastructure you're trying to work on. I enjoy learning how to build and work on that kind of stuff.
Mhm.
So at least for my first 2 summers, I was like, oh, I can come back for the summer or longer, or however we wanted to figure that out. And then I was like, well, if I'm coming back, I'm sure there's a lot of people who would want to come also to try and learn stuff. And this was mainly because of the people we met during Tribe Day.
Yeah.
I think there was a lot of conversation about other people coming up to do internships and whatever.
Yeah.
And so I figured I'd pitch the idea. I was like, if I'm coming back, why not invite other people? Not a crazy amount of people, because you can only do so much for so many people. But I mean, 4 of us in total, or 5 of us or whatever, I think was my original idea. And I think that ended up working out being our game plan. But I think that was the main reason I had thought about it originally, and then we had talked it out. And after talking to you about it, I think it sparked a little idea in your head too. But I had thought about it a little bit more afterward, and it kind of grew into whatever it is now.
Yeah. Okay.
So that was a good decision.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll give it a shot. See how it works out. So, for the listening audience, the application, I think, is in the show notes. I don't know if I can see the show notes, but Jill told me
it's in the description.
It's in the
on the
description.
bottom.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And now, Tribe people, please, referral on that. Like, don't pass it to somebody that won't do anything with it, or that doesn't have at least a little bit of passion for this type lifestyle. And we do have water over there now, and electricity, but that was a method that I used to discipline Covey. If he didn't do what I told him to do, I would shut his water off. So that'll.
Yeah, I heard you upgraded and got a kill switch for the power now.
That's
too.
Right. If you're not a good boy, I'm going to shut the power off and the water off.
Double whammy.
Yeah, and then if you really get out of line, then you get trouble. But hey, tell us about your showering experience. That's really interesting because the contrast between your first couple days here, like the conditions were just a little rough for you, but by the end, you were just about drinking out of a hoof print. Where yeah, you were quite the operator.
Yeah, that was kind of funny. I think it was different from what you were thinking I was going to do in the first place too, which was I think added a little bit more comedic value to it. But we set up the little hose
Yeah,
spigot. Oh, I can't talk. Sorry. Outside under the little canopy, so it was covered and whatever.
yeah.
And so I was like, "Oh, I'll go shower over there." But you had set me up with a. Did you? There was a some wooden platform.
Yeah.
I don't remember where I got it from anymore, but it was.
It's in the garage.
I don't remember where it was from. Maybe it was in the garage or
Yeah.
whatever. But there's a little wooden platform, and so, I mean, I've showered in public before, multiple places, with hoses and whatever. I used to swim, so I'm not as that's not really like a crazy-ish thing to me. But a big thing was for me personally, just being here was like, oh, now I got to walk back into the apartment. So it's like I want to keep my feet clean, otherwise they're gonna get muddy from the bottom. Because that's just something I'm worried
Yeah.
about. And so I was like, okay. So I put the little wooden platform there, and I figured out my showering angle from that, and then it kind of evolved to it was black hosing, so we had buried it, and I'd kind of dug up a little bit of it in a path, so it was still buried enough for you to drive over it, but exposed to the sun, so it warmed up a little bit. So I had about maybe 30-45 seconds of hot water right when I got there. If I took a shower before 5 or 6 o'clock, hot's excessive. I had 30-45 minutes of not freezing cold
Not
water.
freezing cold.
So that was more than enough to do a quick shower.
Yeah.
And then it just turned into a thing. I did dishes in there, which doing dishes in cold water is a little weird,
Yeah.
just because stuff doesn't always want to come out. But doing dishes in cold water it evolved into my little setup, and then I ended up just setting up that station, and I'd gotten pretty used to filling up at a hot water kettle, filled that up and threw it in the apartment. That way I just had water, so I don't have to keep walking back and forth. And I don't know if it's an Indian thing or just a my family thing or whatever, but we always wash our feet or whatever before we go to sleep. It's just a thing. Maybe it's a me thing. Maybe it's an Indian thing, but I don't know. But so I had a little bucket, dip for water that way, and it ended up it was a good little setup. It ended up being nice.
Yeah. Well, it was kind of intentional because I thought, well, when Covey's uncomfortable, he will do things to make him, and like you dragged out that platform, and I drive past it all the time, so I think about that. And I thought, well, that was okay, but I could see like a pallet would have been good too, like that bigger, it'd be bigger, you wouldn't fall off of it. And
I think there was a pallet there too, which is funnier. I think there's a pallet.
Yeah, a pallet would have been better to stand on.
Yeah.
But
whatever.
I got plans for making things even better this year. With 4 people, we're going to have to really think about it, and we'll be in better shape. I got a black plastic barrel that could be mounted up on top, and then you'd have as much hot water as you wanted, so long as there's some sunny days,
Yeah.
But
yeah, there's a lot of ideas.
Yeah.
A lot of good ideas.
We got plenty of ideas.
Yep.
All right. Well, you got any parting shots then for our prospective interns? What you think they should hear?
Not particularly. I talked about most of them.
Okay.
Most of my.
You're still coming, right?
I can only. Yes. Yeah. I'm still coming. I can only talk about my experience. I can't really give people an expectation because shouldn't really be expecting anything. If you come in unexpecting, then nothing will surprise you.
Yeah.
And so shared my experience, and obviously I enjoyed it enough to come back this summer voluntarily. So it'll be fun.
All right.
I don't know. I'm excited. I'm excited.
Yeah, we are too. Everybody here is glad you're coming. All right.
Yeah, I'm excited to see everybody again. I miss everybody.
I appreciate you taking a little time out of your day to come on and share some of your experiences with the folks. And
of course,
if you don't have anything else to say, I guess I'll let you go. And then I'm going to brief these people a little bit and then let them go.
Well, it was a pleasure. It was nice to talk to everybody publicly. If I didn't meet you at Tribe Day already, which I feel like I should have at least met some of you guys. But hopefully we get some applications and it'll be fun and everybody will have a great time and it'll be a fun summer.
Yeah.
It should be warm this year too. So
yeah. I really think this is going to be our best summer. You know, everyone is a little bit better, but we've got a lot of things on the docket that we want to accomplish. And it's nice having people come and sharing their lives with us.
Yeah. And there's a little bit of experience too. We've did it 1 year. So there's a little bit of familiarity. So it'll be nice.
Maybe we'll get you started cold plunging when you're here.
We actually bought a cold plunge. So we got one set up outside. I haven't done it yet. We set it up a week ago, maybe 2.
Yeah.
My parents have done it. They try and do it every morning. I haven't asked recently how consistent they've been going because it's been fairly cold here at night. So they've been doing it. My sister did it. I need to get in there. I haven't done it yet. I've been running around a little bit.
I do it every day. I can't not do it now. You know, I can't.
That's my new. I'm gonna figure that out. That'll be fun.
You know, Dion and Amy Stumpo.
Yes, I saw I saw on Facebook.
Yep.
Yeah, I saw that today. Actually, I don't check Facebook a lot, but when I do, I get a a good amount of feeds,
Facebook all the time. I know.
I need to check it more. I'm on it mainly for Marketplace now, and then
that's it.
So I check my alerts every once in a while.
I just want to see what everybody's doing. That's why I go on it.
Keep tabs on people.
Yeah. All right, my man.
Well, have a great rest of the night.
All right.
Good night, everybody.
Sayonara.
And I will talk to you later.
Oh, there he goes. All right. That was great. Covey's a real trooper. Oh, he's cut right out on us too, so I can talk bad about him now and he won't hear me. No, he did a good job. I think the environment was conducive to a young person, and he definitely had challenges. Some of them were in his own head, but he overcame them, and he did really well. Yeah, we were sad to see him go. He really turned into a member of our family. It's really good. So I think that the 2024 intern program, I've got some ideas that are different than last year that I want to implement. I think we want to do a little bit of market gardening, because I have a place that's 100 by 100 that if we have people, they are coming here to partake in the process. So, I want to grow a little bit more vegetables this year. And we've got several construction projects. And the way it's broken down, our daily is it's broken down into two parts, really. There, you have operations, and then you have maintenance, and then like research and development, right? So operations is just the stuff you have to do every single day. You got to milk the cows every day. You got to feed the pigs every day. You got to feed the cattle every day. You got to move the cows every day. You got to bed the cows every day. You got to take care of the milk every day. Though you got to take care of the chicks every day, moving the chicken tractors every day. But they have to be fed twice a day. The eggs have to be picked up every day. The chickens have to be watered every day. Let's see what else. Oh, now we got sheep. So that's going to be a level of complexity, because we want to use them over at the campground. I can't really have the cows over there because their manure is too big, but the sheep, it's just little pellets, little sugar babies. So when people are walking around over there, it's not bad. It's not bad. Once in a while, you'll have a mushy one, but usually they're pretty hard little pellets that just go into the ground. And then we can use them to mow around the bushes that are over there. So that's going to be something that has to be looked at, moving them every single day, make sure they have feed and water. So operations is what we do in the morning. We just get everything done, get the animals taken care of. Actually, they get to eat before we get to eat. And then we come in and eat, and then it's on to special projects. So the special projects, usually that's like research and development. Like we're going into another area. So like Covey was he built a chicken tractor last year. Did a darn good job on it too. There's a couple of stray holes in that chicken tractor that I'm not sure why you drilled them still this time, but no, he did a real good job on that. Got it painted up nice, did a real nice job. And then we do maintenance too. So stuff has to be fixed because stuff breaks. And maintenance usually falls to me. Research and development is usually like the boys. I'll get them going on projects, and then I'm checking in. And they're carpentry projects or land clearing projects. We're going to be doing a lot of fencing this summer, so the interns will get their fill of that. And then, of course, on Friday we have the chicken processing. I'm kind of thinking that they're going to be. I want to cut them loose all at the same time on Saturday at noon. So we'll be working 5 days plus 4 hours on Saturday just to get chores done, the daily stuff. And then Sunday, the maintenance / research and development crew, which is me, will be doing everything on Sunday because they'll be gone. And I'm going to encourage them to, go to the lake, go play mini golf, get off the farm. So you come back with a little bit of perspective. And Michigan's a great place, actually, where we are up here. It's only about an hour and 10 minutes to the Lake Michigan, it's like being at the ocean. I mean, you can actually see the curvature of the earth. And the water is beautiful. There's no sharks in it, no jellyfish, nothing you're going to step on that's going to stick in your foot and kill you. Just beautiful, beautiful beaches. Some of them are really not used, like no one's there. Beautiful places to go. So we'll encourage the interns to leave, and I think they'll form relationships, and I think the whole thing will be pretty good. They'll have a little bit of a support group, when they have to deal with me on Monday morning. So looking forward to it. I think that the experiences you have in life stay with you your entire life. So Covey will never forget his first summer here. He will never forget that. And I did hear from his folks that he kind of liked to be like a MacGyver type guy. And who wouldn't want to be a MacGyver? What's going to be the age limit? You can't come. You're just too old. No, I think this is designed for people who are starting out or haven't started yet. So I would think, you got to be probably 17 and then probably 25. But if it's the right person that applies, I'm not going to say no. If a 30-year-old person can't come, I wouldn't. It's going to be a case by case. We really only have to look at 3 people, and there's certain things we're looking for and certain things that we're not going to be looking for. Like if you write on your application, he, him, you're out. Don't even think about that. Asking for grandkids. Yeah, that would not be a bad thing. If you have children or grandchildren to be able to hook them up with this. Now, this is not a paid position. It's not a paid position. It's about a semester long. And if you did a semester down at MSU, you pay. You pay to be there, you pay for your food, and you pay for your lodging. We're going to put these guys up in some very nice tents. And then we do feed them a little bit here and there. Some of the scraps that fall off the table, we let them pick those up. Actually, we're going to have a new system this time. So they will be eating evening meal over at the campground. So we're going to set up the back of the garage there, the overhang, as an outdoor kitchen. And Covey's going to detail who's cooking tonight and what they're going to have and all that. So everybody will have a chance to do it. Of course, if they want to swap amongst them, that's their business. I don't want to micromanage any of this. I want them to problem solve, like with Covey and his shower deal. I got water over there, and I said, well, here's the tools, here's all the equipment that I used to hook it up. You can make it better if you want, or you can just shower like this if you want. And he was fine with it the way it was, so we kind of left it that way. The conditions were austere. However, life is austere. It is. Now, he was coming here from North Carolina, living in the city in Raleigh. And everybody there lives pretty good. They all have air conditioning and nice cars and stuff like that. Well, I don't know. I've never been there, but I reckon where he came from, it was pretty comfortable. And I wanted to challenge him with, this sucks. Okay, make it better. Make it better. And he did. Like he was hot in the apartment. So he went and bought an air conditioner. Hey, not bad. That was, you got a problem, figure it out. I think we're going to do something there, though, because I'd rather just have like a fan in the window. Problem is there's only one window in there, so there would be no cross ventilation. So we're gonna address that. I don't think he'll be staying in there. We're going to get 2 wall tents, and these tents are nice. They're $1,000, but they're, you can walk around in them. They're going to be on platforms, and then we're going to build an outdoor latrine, I guess you'd call it. So have a place where you can go to the bathroom and then a shower and then a set of sinks so they can get tuned up in the morning before they come to work, brush your teeth and all that stuff. And then we'll put some sinks by the back of the apartment building there so they can cook, and none of this is built. I have to get this done. I think what I'll do is they'll all show up here, right? And I'll say, well, this is where you're staying. Well, Mr. Baker, there's nothing here. And yeah, but that pile of wood right there, that's going to be the platforms. So get your work gloves on because we got to get this done. Well, where do we stay tonight? Oh, you can just sleep in your sleeping bags like outside. It's not that cold. Yeah, this would be great. This would be great. Well, I'm hot. Oh, you'll be all right. And then, when you do move into a tent, and the mosquitoes aren't eating you, you'll think, wow, this is nice. Great. There's no water over here. We got to carry it over with a bucket. Yeah, well, we'll run it over for you. We'll fix you up. It'll be all right. No, that is what you call building into people by showing them perspective. Like when I go back to the Boy Scouts, when we would go to a camp, when we would get there, the tents weren't set up, so we had to set them up, and they had latrines in there. So I can't really say that, but we were eating just like cold cut sandwiches and stuff. But then they opened up the chow tent, and then the food was a little bit better, So you don't want to start off with, Trump Tower over there, and then they got to come over here and sweat and all that stuff. You want it to be in perspective. Like, I don't have air conditioning in my house, and not at all. And I don't want it in my house. When it's hot, it's hot. That's just the way it is. Deal with it, right? Because if we do go that route and we put an air conditioner in, okay, well, I guess when do we turn it off? So I just don't want to do that. I'm not really into all that. Not that I never was. I used to think that we wanted to have air conditioning in this house until we did. And I thought, this is crazy. People are going to want to stay inside. Go outside. Sit under a tree. Go in the pool. The pool was a big changer. It was a game changer here. Because it does get hot here in the summer. We have probably about 2 or 3 weeks that it's really blistering hot, and we're not used to it. So you just get worn out, and then you want to quit working at like 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And we would say, that's it. Let's go to the lake. And we would go to Lake Misaki, which is just up the road. It's 10 miles up the road. And by the time we get back, it's still hot. So we put this above ground pool in. We put it all in ourselves. And that is a game changer, because when it's really hot out and you're just worn out from the heat, just come up here, get in the pool, because we're usually working in shorts anyway. So just get in the pool, and then you just get cooled off and you go back to work and get a couple more hours in, and it's really nice. After dinner, you can go swimming. Before you go to bed, you can go swimming. It's really nice. So there, I'm really looking forward to the intern program. I think it's going to be a real fun thing to do. And I think that we're going to be able to, I like to use the analogy of turning butterflies loose. You just get a bunch of people trained up and turn them loose and see what happens. And at the end of this whole thing, maybe I'll be able to look back and say, oh, we got that done, that done, that done, that done. And then these people that flew away and then they pollinated someplace else, I think we can accomplish a lot by doing this. So if there's anybody out there that wants to help with this project, by all means, let me know your intent to want to help. We can use, there's all kinds of resources that we can use, because we got to have housing. We got to have a place for them to eat. I got a picnic table over there, so that's done. We got the overhang built, so that's done. But there's all a bunch of little pieces that have to be in. I want to put a gravel pad down so they don't have to get their little feet dirty. I want to put in a foot washing station for Covey. Charity says, I don't know if it's an Indian thing. That's funny. I wash my feet before I go to bed, but I only take a shower once a year. I don't want to waste precious water. Besides, you don't shower in the wintertime because it breaks through that protective crust that builds up on you. You don't want to do that. It'll let disease in. No, I'm just kidding. All right, lots of fun. Clean feet. Yeah. What tribe you with anyway, man? Us Americans never wash our feet. No, we don't. All right. That was fun. Look forward, you tribe people, look forward to a video tomorrow. And then tomorrow night, Wednesday night, is our consulting call. That's a Zoom call, and you should be getting a notification. If you're not, call the farm and talk to Jill and figure out why you're not getting a notification, because it's very easy to come on. And then we have everybody's picture is on there. We have a nice visit. Tribe Plus is my tribe, says Covington. All right, good. Another successful operation. Really appreciate you guys coming by. And as always, remember, anyone can farm. Good night.